Yo, this is King Erna coming to you guys live and direct. Make sure y'all tap all the way in by going to follow me at where? King Erna official page on Instagram. But more than anything, make sure y'all tap in for that honorable conduct Christmas. And be sure to understand that all you have to do is hit my DM and be Cash App and Apple Pay ready. Now, I want to say something, man. Coming up as a kid, I had a different lifestyle than a lot of other individuals did. I grew up terrible at first as a young age. When I say terrible, seeing a lot of negative things that my mom had going on. And honor in the streets getting in my heart. And then I had my mother who, what we would call in these times, kind of abandoned me and give me to my grandmother, So, at the end of the day, you can respect it or you can go against it. I respect it because if she didn't love me, at the end of the day, she could have really put me in a bad position. That bad position is having me tag along with her in the streets and things not going the correct way. When people are on drugs and things like that, they need to find somebody who they know are capable. And my grandmother, she took that position on very well because she had a son that died. That son to her was like a gem of the ocean. And you got to have understanding. If you've seen me, you've seen him. If you've seen my oldest son, you would say, damn, I seen your Uncle Paul. He was murdered in the streets of Philadelphia. But my grandmother took that kind of hard. So everybody said I looked so much like him that she kind of took to me and she gave me the world. Not everybody is going to have that blessing coming up. And what I mean by that, you have to have understanding that not every grandmother is that grandmother. And I don't want to go back in the days because we know damn near every last one of them grandmothers was beautiful and had some honor. But I want to say to the people, when are we having a grandmothers in this era, in 2024, be the good grandmothers? The grandmothers that don't have a problem with taking their child's child in, their grandchild. The grandmother who don't have a problem with getting understanding that they have to let go of any vices they had. They have to let go of it in order to be in their grandchildren's lives. And that was the thing that rubbed me a little bad when I was coming up and I had my children and my mother was still out here running around in the mix. You see, because at the end of the day, I always wanted her to do for my children, her grandkids, what she didn't do for me. And a lot of times you're not going to have the grandmother step up in that position. My grandmother took me on wholeheartedly with nothing. I showed up with my clothes on, the clothes I had on. She took me the very next day to buy new clothes. She taught me right and wrong. And for the young grandmothers, y'all got a chance to teach your grandchildren that came to you battered, hurt, abused, been through things, saw things that they wasn't supposed to see, things happened to them that wasn't supposed to happen to them. Y'all, the younger grandmothers, y'all have the ability to help them grandkids, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them say, we're still young, but you're a grandmother. So if you're a grandmother, you have to honor your youth and make sure you step up for your grandkids that have children that were your children that you raised that didn't turn out right. And not every child is going to turn out right. And we understand this, grandparents, but it's up to you today to get off your rear end, stop watching them same stories, kicking it with them same individuals, and then going out late night, drinking your Don Julio and all that, and saying, I only can get my grandchild once in a blue moon. Listen, that has to stop. You got to get your grandchild all the time. Listen to me. That's the reason why you're called a grandmother. Grandmother means that you're more grand. You're more on top of things than your child was. You see? And like I said, in this world, it's not going to always be like that. But it's up to the grandparents today to see King Ernest's video and say, you know what? I'm going to get my grandbaby. My child on Percocets, strung out, trying to get themselves together. My child on crack. My child doing Fetty Wap. My child back Kensington, doing things that they got no business doing. And guess what? You just living your life freedom, out jamming and trying to stay young when you know damn well you don't belong in that club, man. Them high heels hurt them feet every time you get in the goddamn dizzle. And on top of that, you know that cookalator needs to have one man because it's being honored by 1 million men is only going to make that grandmama cookalator go bad. So we got to have understanding of what we should be doing in life. And that goes for the parents because guess what? The grandparents should be able to live their lives and have some freedom also. Yeah. The grandparents should be able to say, I raised you, the nonsense you got going on, I shouldn't have to deal with it. But a real grandmother gonna still deal with it because guess what? If they love you, they're gonna love yours. And a lot of times we miss the fact that grandparents, grandmothers, they have a life also. They do. They shouldn't. My grandmother shouldn't have been sitting around running behind me down 1801 Vine, Youth Study Center, all these juvenile placements I've been to, court dates. She shouldn't have been doing that. She shouldn't have been paying the bills. She shouldn't have been getting the lawyers. My mother and my father were supposed to have been doing that, right? So what we have understanding is you cannot, at the end of the day, carry it like that in that fashion. You have to really become adults. So the parents start becoming adults. You know, you see your child going in the wrong direction. You say, damn, after a while, your child been living with you forever. It's like, all right, get the hell up out of here after a while. You have to go on and raise your family and get a family also, child. You see? Because at the end of the day, that's how you teach them. You don't enable them. When you enable them, you end up putting them in prison like I was. And you're not actually putting them in prison, but you're being an enabler of putting them in there when you're letting them sit in your home, not doing anything and running out, selling drugs, doing wrong things. And you know that money that come in is drug money, coming in fly to death, but you still letting them live in your crib. But if you get shot up or your crib gets shot up, then it's a problem. No, don't wait till that happens for it to be a problem. Make sure you check a problem all the time, 24/7. And guess what? That grown man or that grown lady that you raised, that's your child, is going to get tired of you nagging them. And you know what they're going to say? I have to get up and get the hell away from mom or grandmother because at the end of the day, I need my own. And if they're doing positive things, it's going to work out for them. But if they're not and you teach them the wrong things, they're going to be back at your goddamn door again. And here it is. You have to go through those same struggles, those same obstacles that you already beat. You teaching your child that shit. Now all of a sudden you're going through it. You find yourself going through what my grandmother went through. Up 2, 3 in the morning, worried about the child that their child was supposed to raise. Now you find yourself kicking out more money than anything. You can't go on a trip. You can't Don Julio no more. You can't do these things. So that's why parents and grandparents, the ones that are in charge, you have to put up for a rainy day because your child may mess up. Or even if your child ain't messing up, how about the grandparents and parents who have children that are going to college, that are still young, that's at the home, that don't have a job yet? And when they go to college, guess what? You're going to be the one that have to help out. You're going to be the one. Don't let your child be in a goddamn college like a lot of these college kids I seen back in the day. I done been through a many a college, man, just kicking it with, you know, my brothers. We out of town. We here, we there. We dealing with females. When we young, we moving, you dig? And they ain't had no food in their goddamn dorm. Nothing. Every college student damn near I went to. It's like they don't have no food. Let your child know, look, I'm going to get you this portion of food every month. You see? And it's up to you how you carry it. Now your friends, because they usually build up with friendships and stuff like that and relationships where they all share with one another. And our kids are going to do that. But make sure that your child specifically has understanding of responsibility. Once a couple of months of them getting in college, got to get a little job. I don't care if it's the rinky-dink Sheets that's around the corner. I don't care if it's the rinky-dink 7-Eleven that's around the corner. You have to go there and you have to work a 9 to 5 so you can take care of your responsibilities and start preparing, transitioning to be an adult. Because guess what? A lot of time when these kids ain't getting no damn loans and stuff like that, or the grant acting up and the scholarship is over, whatever, what happens? You got to come out your pocket. And guess what? A lot of them will get a lot of schools or a lot of educational programs that'll pay for that, but they want their money back. And guess what? Your child, after doing 10 years or 20 years, however long that child trying to stay in school to get the best education, they come home and having to owe these people So start teaching them that responsibility now. And young men that ain't doing nothing that's at grandma's house, you should be ashamed of your goddamn self. You should be ashamed of yourself, because at the end of the day, guess what? It's called being a freeloader. If I done it when I was younger, it was called being a freeloader. Ain't no nicknaming for myself. See, I got up and got out though. I made sure that I got out of that door, because my grandmother told me, I don't give a damn what goes on. You want to act like you don't want to go to school, but you're getting out of my house like you got a 9 to 5 every single day. And there will be no nicknaming. To the point when after I come home from a bed and I was 16, I said, you know what? I'm getting my own little apartment. And I had my own little apartment since the age of 16. Back and forth to jail, I would come home and be with my grandmother for a time being. But she'll tell you, after that, I figured my own earn out, because I couldn't do nothing negative laying in a crib. You couldn't even goddamn pull a girlfriend over there. Even if you was in your 20s, it was a problem. If you had a respectable grandmother, you hear me? Or a respectable parent. And parents, stop allowing that. Don't allow no man or no woman in your house play house. My grandmother taught me that. You give your kid, that's enabling them to do that with their children. Next thing you know, you got a goddamn whole home of people living in there. You're trying to figure out how you tell your child when they 20-something goddamn years old, pushing 50, how do you get out? And you're just like, nah, you shouldn't have to go through that, because you should teach them that step by step by step. And at the end of the day, if we ain't going step by step, guess what? We're losing. I'm King Earner from the Honor Your Life campaign. The goal is to restore the honor in the people and make sure they have understanding of the right and the wrong things we have done in our lives. King Earner, live and direct. Examples are the best parable for someone to understand, for them to go in the right direction.